Family Today with Funmi Johnson. Today is a beautiful, beautiful day. You know, the Bible says this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm particularly excited because I have a special, very special guest in the house. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag so quickly. I'm going to keep you guessing. But you know, there's something very, very peculiar about this woman that I have with me. She's a woman of God. She's beautiful. She has 3 lovely children, but I'm going to read a little bit of her resume. I won't mention her name first. She's a sterling pharmacist with over 2 decades of experience. She's currently the assistant director and head of drug supply and logistics unit at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba. I want to tell you her name, Olufunto. She holds a master's degree in public health from the prestigious University of Lagos. She is a fellow of West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists and a member of the Society for Quality Healthcare in Nigeria. She is also a mentee alumni of the Sherry Blair Foundation for Women and has a professional certification from the Service Quality Institute, United States of America, as a certified customer service professional. Actually, she's taught twice on Whitefield Foundation customer service platform. She's one of our key facilitators. But ladies and gentlemen, the lady I have with me today is Olufunto Olude. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for having me here today.
You know, I caught her, you know, talking to men about mental health sometimes not too long ago, and I suffered a major loss, and I'll tell you what that meant. Somebody very close to me, a close family relative, committed suicide, and that was really, really strange, because we think that people that go that route are people that maybe they are poor, maybe they have a major setback, traceable, tangible, that all the world can know about. But this person, to the best of my knowledge, has 2 massive houses, had a lovely wife and 3 children, and the next thing we had was committed suicide. And that got me worried. And Family Today is committed to bringing the mind and the will of God to the family. So that's why I brought you, my dear Funto Olude. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation. We're going to be talking to about 20 million people. So what we want to look at today is what really is mental health.
I will start by saying there is no health without mental health, in the sense that for you to be sure that you are actually healthy, when you talk about your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health is also very critical. You mentioned the loss of a loved one, you know, and someone who sort of, in quotes, had it all together. But you realize that people who have mental health disorders show forth signs that they have some form of disorder that has distorted their emotions, their thinking, and their behavior.
Now, you said there is no health without mental health. So what is health?
Let me give the WHO definition of health.
Ahead.
You know, WHO says health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This is according to WHO. States that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being.
Come on.
And not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So most of the time we think when you're healthy, you don't have any disease, you don't have any infirmity, you don't have any headache, you know, and things like that. But that's not it all. So even your social well-being is also part of your health. So you need to be able to have healthy relationships, because it adds to your health. Your physical well-being, now we're talking about your body, you being able to exercise and things like that. You know, you don't have any pain, you don't have any broken leg, you know, and things like that. And then you don't have no disease. Then of course your mental health, like I said, there's no health without mental health. And then your social well-being. So it's 3.
So that means it's easy for us to identify the physical one.
Yes.
Because when you have pain, you go to the hospital and we're treating that.
Yes.
So how can we help people with the social well-being?
You know, we all have different types of characters. You know, you have people who are melancholic. I hope I'm right with that. Yeah, there's some people who are so like very quiet and withdrawn. You know, while you have those who are very bubbly and all. So there must be a balance where you can at least draw people out. When you are in the community, you have people who are able to pick out and see, okay, there's something a bit strange about this. Yes. So let's see how we can, you know, bring people together. That's where the social aspect, because you cannot live in silos, you can't live in isolation. You will die if you stay in that point where you are lonely. Relationships are very vital, so it's important that we build such communities. That's why when you go to school, you don't go to class and you're not alone. You go to church, those are the places where you build.
You know what the Bible says? It says it puts the solitary in families. That means it's important.
So it's not just
nobody should be a hermit.
No.
Wow. So now, what about the mental health? That's what we're talking about today. Yeah. So mental health. How do you identify if someone is not mentally sound? Because you see, for we lay people, you know, they say Yaba left. So anyone that is driving on Muritala Muhammad Way and decides to turn left, we all look at those people suspiciously. In fact, during the COVID vaccination, and they put a center there, I said, no, I will not go there.
You know what? Now we're also trying to rebrand. You know, they say Yaba left, but we also say it's a home of sanity. Because when you come there, yes, we're trying to, you know, also put that in so that those who come will know that our goal is to ensure that we help people with their mental health. You know, when you talk about mental health, you have distortion in emotions, in thinking, in behavior. And you know, there are different things. There are different mental health conditions. They're the ones that you see, okay, the person strips and all, the person is not wearing any clothes. And all. That's the one most of us think,
no.
Yes. And in that case, maybe the person has schizophrenia. So you think that is all, but no. There are other conditions that are actually considered as mental health disorders. Even when people don't sleep properly, when you're suffering insomnia, those are some of the things that you can consider.
When people don't sleep properly?
Oh, yes.
A lot of us don't sleep properly.
We have a sleep clinic where we actually attend to people who have issues with sleep.
So what do you do to them?
They go through a process.
Wow.
We have to attend to them. Yes, because some of these things, lack of sleep, can lead to something else.
So now listen to me. This is Family Today with Funmi Johnson. If you don't sleep properly, please go to Yabale. Maybe you should see somebody in the neuropsychiatric hospital.
Yes.
And don't just take it as one of those things. I know someone that has to take Valium every night to sleep. So it's become, you know, like an addiction.
Which also leads to a problem.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, because there could be a rebound effect, and then the person will now have more issues with sleep. That's why when you're having something, you need to ensure that you see an expert. You need to see a psychiatrist that can help you with that, because you just don't take medications anyhow.
Now listen to me. Seeing a psychiatrist does not mean that you're mad.
Nope.
It just means that you're taking care of that third aspect of health, as in the mental health. You want to be sure. So you should visit. You should just go there and say, I'm supposed to be sleeping 6 to 8 hours a day. I could hardly make 3. And you know, at odd times, I'm a very light sleeper. And when I sleep, I don't even think I sleep soundly. So they can actually help you through. So what are the other mental health issues apart from sleep disorder?
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, schizophrenia, depression, substance abuse. You know, some people have that. There are people who have alcoholism, alcoholic dependency, so they also go through that. These are the things that you see that people just, even those who have postpartum depression, sometimes it doesn't resolve and then goes into something else. People who are suicidal, those are the kind of people we see. Even within that facility, like I would say, we have different professionals within the psychiatric facility. You have those who are occupational therapists who also help people to integrate back, especially maybe they've had real mental breakdown and they don't have any means of livelihood, because that can lead them back to the state in which they are. So you have occupational therapists that also work with them to ensure they can at least get a trade. You have the social health workers who also help the people to integrate back into the society. You have
all these at the neuropsychiatric
You
hospital.
have psychologists who now focus using talk therapy to help people through, especially those who had depression, even those who gone through some form of substance abuse and are addicted, because you have people, children who have really, and that is an epidemic actually. We're sitting on the keg of gunpowder when it comes to substance abuse.
Are you saying that children can also have mental health disorders?
Yes.
From what age?
At any age. Now you have some that are developmental issues.
Okay.
Yes. So maybe children who are autistic, and even children who have some form of cerebral palsy that you have to attend to. So in that case, you have the child and adolescents that actually...
Those are congenital issues.
Yes, like I said, developmental congenital issues for some. Then you still have some children who also have depression, even as young as 12, adolescents who go through that.
Finding it difficult to
cope
with the expectations of the adolescents.
And now in this day and age where you are getting even children as young as 10 who are already abusing substance.
No way.
Oh yes. There was a case in one secondary school that these children, they were going to have an inter-house sports. How they had access to tramadol, we still do not understand. They took an overdose.
So that they could win?
Yeah. That was it.
And then it affected them adversely.
Oh yes, I think one of them died. I'm not so sure. I can't remember clearly. But these are the kind of things, there's so much exposure. That's why we need to be very careful what we expose them to. And we need to take time to explain to them. The best thing is don't even touch it. Don't go near it. Because once they touch it, it's a different thing entirely.
Is there a stimulation in the drug that makes
yes, and then peer pressure, and then somebody comes and tells you, no, you've been having difficulty reading. These are some of the things. This is how some of them come to you. They say, I can give you something that will help you to be able to read well. You can stay awake. Next thing you just introduce, you just give you poop, and that's how it goes. Some, it may be even in food. So these are kind of things.
Food?
Yes, in food.
How do you put those things in food?
They can they can fix, put in some drugs, either marijuana or weed, in certain meals that you won't know. Wow. Even cookies, cakes, and things like that. These are some of the things, we're saying a lot of things at the same time, but these are some of the things that people are exposed, both children and the youth, and even older people are exposed to when it comes to substance abuse. That is a topic on its own. But if we're looking at the rate of depression, there are things that causes this.
Let's look at women. Let's narrow down on women for now.
Okay.
Let's look at women. I know I've heard about postpartum depression before, where women give birth. Giving birth is supposed to be a thing of joy. What are the things that can lead to postpartum depression?
If I could say I know exactly. I know that most times the stress from the delivery, and then in some cases there may be an underlying family history that could predispose that person to having that postpartum depression. And then next thing the person gives birth, is not interested in seeing the baby, just doesn't want to touch the child, just feels, just take the baby away, I don't want to breastfeed. In some cases, yes, they're able to help and then it resolves. For some, it doesn't. No. And then they end up being on medication really almost for the rest of their lives. But mental health, depending on the case, it's treatable. It's treatable depending on what you're doing.
Now, if you're listening to me, if you have any form of depression, if you're thinking and you're not able to come to conclusion, the Bible says in multitude of counsel, there is safety. So you may need to run for help. And the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Yaba is available. It's not just for mad people. It's for people who want to ensure that their mental state is in order. So anyone can visit. And then you can also seek counsel from seasoned counselors who know, and psychologists who can tell you, I think you're going a bit off. maybe you should slow down. Some of us have set goals for ourselves that we're not able to attain. And because we are comparing, I told you on my channel, the Bible is my final authority. The Bible says they that compare themselves with themselves, they are not wise. The reason some of us are depressed is because, these are my mates. All my mates have built houses. All my mates, they have jackpot. All my mates, their children are doing like this. What is happening to me? And then you start thinking, you cannot, commit suicide over something you don't have control over. So why don't you revisit the issue of who are your mates? Who really are your mates? Did God tell you that someone is your mate? Let me tell you, in a class of 40, somebody will be richer than some other people.
Yes.
Somebody will be fatter than some other people. Somebody will be shorter than some other people. So I don't understand which mates that we're looking at. So we need to come to terms with that. Now, let's look at what are the things that are likely to cause mental health problem in women. We are both women.
For women, like I said, some it could be family history.
Family history?
Yes, some. For some, it could be life events. For some women, it could be the loss of the loved one, because these are some of the things that are still peculiar to everybody. But when you now talk about women are very emotional. I've seen cases where a particular woman was jilted. And that was what led to her depression. I remember when I was growing up, my mom would tell me, you see that psychiatric hospital, there are many women there because of men.
So men, see what you are causing. Let's talk to the men, see what you are causing. Don't send women to psychiatric hospital. Stop jilting them. If you know you're not going to marry, tell them on time and nicely too. Abi?
Yes.
I was trying to buy something when I traveled some times ago, and they just told me the owner, I think Kate Spade, the owner of that franchise, the designer, committed suicide. So, and it got me worried. Even the very wealthy, even the very rich.
Because some are actually still lonely within themselves.
So you that you are struggling and you want to make money at all costs, see the rich are committing suicide. So what is your problem? So you better know that nothing in life satisfies. I'm using this opportunity to call you to God. He's the only one that can fill that void in your heart. That's the way God made us, and He created that void in us so that we can long for Him. As the deer pants after the water brook, so my soul longs after you. I'm going to take a short break now, and we'll continue this conversation after the short break. Paul says it is better for a single man to marry than to burn. Are you single, married, widowed, separated, or divorced? Join me on Family Today.
Family Today with FunmiJohnson is one program that will bring you in alignment with who you truly are and open your mind to how you rock your significant interpersonal relationships while sidestepping the landmines, culture, religion, and society have laid in your path. Family Today with FunmiJohnson goes where others are shy to go and shines the light in the dark corners others have forgotten. Tune in at 11:30 a.m. every Friday to listen to Family Today with FunmiJohnson on Inspiration 92.3 FM.
We are back. This is Family Today with FunmiJohnson. I have my special guest. I did not complete her resume. I was reading You Need to Know. Funto Olude is passionate about mentoring young pharmacists and has helped hundreds of them enhance their skills and competencies in building their careers through the Meeting Point Nigeria, a mentoring platform she leads. As part of her mentoring commitment, she is a faculty member of the Pharmacist Leadership Stimulant Program and a member of P Platform. Olufunto values professionalism, integrity, hard work, and courtesy, which are exhibited in her poise. She believes everyone deserves respect and should be treated with such. That's why I like her. She's very amiable, respectful, and beautiful. I love her low cut, but her son is much taller than her, though.
Yeah.
You're welcome. This is just the concluding part. I'm so sorry we can't open the phone lines today because what we're discussing is really very important. We're going to talk about men shortly, But let's still drill down a little bit about women. Women are going through a lot of physical abuse, emotional abuse, and these things can lead to mental health disorder.
Yes.
What can you say? How can we advise these women? If you're going through physical abuse, mental abuse, what can we do?
Of course, if you're going through physical abuse, it's important that you talk about it.
Okay.
You need to speak about it, and when it gets to that point of danger, you need to get your space.
Yourself.
Yes. It's advisable you get your space, lest you get killed in between.
Lose your life.
Lose your life, basically. That's it. Emotional abuse, even as much as we women try to soak it in and say, okay, we can manage, we go through it. But people are getting to the point where the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse gets to a point where it could even almost be worse than physical.
I think it's worse.
It's worse.
Silent treatments, looking at you with disdain, making you feel that you're worth nothing.
Yes, all those things come and can lower your self-esteem. And when you get to that point where your self-esteem is lowered, you can swing into that state of depression, and you think all that is being said about you is who you really are,
and you feel you're not worthy.
You're not worth it. So some can lead to that point of depression, even suicide. So in some cases, the best thing, if you know you can't resolve it, within the facility, there's what we call even couples therapy, where yes, you come in and you see the psychologist, you go through the process so that they will see how you can work together. Even though most times before you get to that point where they see that this is getting dangerous, they advise you to give yourself some space. That a
lot of times women don't like to go for counseling because now, just recently, a woman came to see my husband and told him about a husband who is having affairs. But the man is a breadwinner. She doesn't make as much. And she's like, so my husband asked, should I call him? He said, if you call him, I'm dead. He's going to say that you're going to report me, I have been exposed. And that means he's now going to start physically abusing me. What I'm going through now is emotional abuse. If I report him and he gets to know I'm the one, then he's going to start physical abuse. Or ultimately, he's going to send me out of the house and I can't take care of myself. So how do we resolve that kind of a situation? She knows she's abused. But because a meal ticket is attached to that man, she's not able to take the right step, at least to seek counsel in a manner that the man can be called to order. What do you advise in a situation like this?
One of the key things there that you can see is because she doesn't have a form of sustenance to be able to take care of herself. So she's really afraid that if anything happens, she's going to lose a lot. We always say it, and you hear it a lot now, that it's important that a woman gets to the point where she has some source of sustenance. She must have money to be able to take care of herself. I believe that you have to be able to face your fears. First things first, discuss it with him and let him know. But you must guard your heart. This is my own take.
Come on.
You must guard your heart and ensure that this does not break you. Because once you get to that point where this thing begins, you are about to lose yourself, and you must be alive for yourself, for your children.
Now, you see, there's a lot of things going on. We say to women, the man is supposed to provide for you. And I found out in my, few years as a counselor that a lot of these men are actually not able to provide. Not because they don't even want to, but because they don't have.
They don't have.
So, in the event where the man does not have, are you still going to fold your arms when you are able to make some money for yourself? So maybe we can collectively speak to the women and say to women, go find something doing.
Yes, it's important.
But there are some cases though, where the man tells the woman, don't work. Because men that want to be very oppressive, chauvinistic men that want to be in control of the woman's life, they deliberately want to impoverish them so that they can control, they can dictate how they go. So what do we advise women in this kind of situation?
You have to find a way. I will give a situation where there was a case I heard. The lady didn't have a job. this same situation, the man had told her, make sure that
Don't
you don't work, I'll take care of you. Eventually, he started having an affair with his secretary, who moved into their house.
Who moved into their house?
Yes, she too, she didn't know. She just was oblivious.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, she left.
Okay.
She had to leave. She fell into depression, but was handled because she was able to get a psychologist to take her through. Now, when she went through therapy, her self-esteem was built. She got herself a job, got her 2 children, together they got a place. By the time I was seeing her, I was like, this is a different lady.
Come on.
She got herself together, got a job, things worked out. Eventually, they came back together.
No way.
Oh yes, they did. So they now had to go through their own session. She could stand, and then they could face themselves and eventually resolve their situation. And now they are back together, but she is working.
I think I want to digress a little bit and speak to both men and women, especially people married, that it's important for both husband and wife to work. And I'm saying this deliberately. Husband work, wife work. There's something work does to you. It actually builds your esteem.
Oh yes, it does.
It makes you to feel that you are not a non-entity, you're not a loafer, you're not just living, and you're not a parasite. It gives you a sense of worth. So husband should work, wife should work. And then you should commit together to the well-being of the home.
Yes.
What happens is most times why women don't want to work is all the household chores is still left for women to do. So they're like, okay, I'm the one cooking, I'm the one cleaning, I'm the one taking care of laundry and all the things in the house, and I'm still bringing money. So they're equating what they're doing. Yes, I agree, absolutely. But whichever way, if you don't have to be the one to do it, staff it.
Yes.
But work. Have some means of livelihood such that your relationship, your love relationship is not dependent on his income. Because if it's dependent on his income and he just decides that I want to withhold it, then you're stranded. So it's very, very important. I would want us to talk about men. We would have to do this in the next episode because I want us to drill down on this. And so if you're a woman listening to me today and you are in a state of depression, what are the signs of depression? Loss of sleep.
Loss of sleep, loss of concentration, fatigue. You just suddenly shift from the norm, the things that you used to do that were pleasurable before. You see the person withdraws, and in some cases you just see that the person is either very aggressive or reckless. Some are very teary-eyed when you're talking to them normally, and it's just a normal discussion, and you say something, the person just starts crying, and just starts crying profusely, just crying, and you're wondering, hello, what's wrong with you? So this lasts for more than normal. It could be for about 2 weeks or more. Then something is definitely wrong. The person just keeps mute. The person withdraws from social functions, family functions, normal things that the person used to do. You just see something is strange about this person, and there are things that are observable by others because it is a deviation from the person's normal behavior or from the norm. And then you see there is something wrong with this person's mental health. So
I want us to be our brother and sister's keeper in this regard. If you notice that someone that is suddenly withdrawn, someone that is boisterous is suddenly quiet, someone is just flipping off, anything triggers anger uncontrollably, we need to know that there is something that is going on there because we want you to take care of your mental health. We're going to end this episode now. And we will continue next week because we need to talk about the men and we need to talk about the society. What can we do? Remember, you can go to the neuropsychiatric hospital in Yaba or any place where there is mental health issue being taken up. And don't be ashamed. Please go. And if you're in a marriage relationship and you feel that there's oppression, please seek counsel. It's important. And if they tell you, submit. Tell them they do not understand the meaning of that word. Submit is not a derogatory word. It's not something that they ask you to do. It's something that you opt to do by yourself. So no one can ask you to submit. It is a choice that you have to make. We continue this conversation. Remember, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, the Funmi Johnson. Thank you.
Family Today with Funmi Johnson is powered by the Capstone Church Without Walls.